Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Miss Debbie's Story Time for April 22nd, 2020. And happy Earth Day, everyone. Today is a day that we've set aside for honoring our beautiful Earth and reminding everyone about some ways that we can be responsible about as citizens of the Earth. So Earth Day has been celebrated for the past 50 years. It's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day this year. Started in 1970. And they've discovered that there's 1 billion people around the Earth who help to celebrate this day. Over 190 different countries have activities and reminders and different ways to celebrate the Earth. So today we're going to do things a little bit differently. Excuse me. I thought we'd start with our activity. So first of all, let me just show you where this activity, the idea for this activity came from. This is a cool book that we have at the library. So as soon as we're back open again, come on up and grab this book because there are so many cool ideas in here. It's called A Little Bit of Dirt. It's got 55 or more science and art activities to reconnect children with nature. So simple, things that you can do with just items that are in around your home and your neighborhood and your world. So let me just show you a couple of things that jumped out at me. Here's an activity where you just go outside and find a stick that you like, and then you can wrap it with some embroidery floss if you happen to have some. Those are beautiful. I really like this one down here. Very simple idea. You just find some pretty leaves. They're starting to come back out again now. And you paint them. You look at the different divisions in the leaves, how the veins of the leaf are divided up, and you can paint each one a different color. The other thing I like about this book, let me just show you another one, is for many of the activities, they also give you bonus activities. So here's a simple activity that you can do. It's called a texture garden. And you can see the little girl has gone outside and collected some things in nature that appeal to her and put them all in a big dish. And it's her texture garden. And she can touch it and smell it and observe it and all kinds of things. And then there's other things that you can do too. I liked that one. This was one of my favorites. Very simple idea, but look at how cool it is. You take, and this, what they're suggesting that you do is take a piece of contact paper, but you could just take a piece of wide tape, masking tape, or painter's tape, or whatever you have around the house, and you wrap it around your wrist, sticky side out, and you can make a sticky nature bracelet. So as you're outside exploring your backyard, anything you see that appeals, you can stick it on your bracelet, and when you come home, you'll have a gorgeous bracelet. And for an extended activity, I thought this one was cool. Have your big person very carefully cut the bracelet off when you're done, cover it with another sheet of contact paper, and presto chango, you now have a bookmark. So this book is loaded with all kinds of fun ideas like that. So let me show you the one that I found for today. So the reason why we're talking about this, parents, just for a moment, is we're going to look at some classifying today and some sorting. Very important for young children. And let me just give you a few brief reasons why this is so important as a skill for your child to develop. I got this information from a website called Next Kids. When you sort them, what you're doing is you're just separating them out and determining these objects' similarities and differences so that there's two huge terms for you to discuss with your child. When they start to look at these items and compare them, you can decide, depending on what kind of attributes you're looking for. Does it have more of this? Does it have less of that? And basically, classifying and sorting help the children to develop a range of thinking skills and build the foundations for later problem solving. As we all know, that's an important skill. So let me just show you. I have my wonderful cameraman today, so he's going to tilt the camera so that you can see what I've got down here on the table in front of me. Maybe, there you go, perfect, thank you. So it's just a big piece of paper that I had. It was some easel paper that I had, and I divided it up into a grid. So then, what I did was I went outside and I found all these cool nature treasures. So what I'm going to look at today, and you can do it any way you want. You could sort by color, you could sort by size, by shape. I'm going to sort today by texture, either rough or smooth. So let's start with these two pieces of moss, and if you could feel this one, it's very soft, very smooth. This one, the moss, it's a different type of moss, and it has some little things sticking out, which makes it feel a little bit rougher, certainly not as smooth as that. So there's rough and smooth with the moss. This one, it was just cool. Look at that. This is a, I'll move this down a little bit so you can see it better, a stick that I found outside, and it's got something called lichen growing on it. That's definitely rough, very bumpy, but isn't that cool? Bark, I found different kinds of bark. So this one, certainly, if you touch this one, you can feel it's very rough. It's the outside of a, I believe that's an oak, perhaps, part of an oak tree. This one, beautiful, one of my favorites. And I didn't peel it off the tree. It was laying on the ground. This is from a tree called a birch tree, and very, very smooth. Native Americans used to take this, and they would draw on it, take a piece of charcoal, and they could draw pictures on it and send messages. That one. Here's another piece. So that's definitely smooth. There's my rough bark and my smooth bark. This one's kind of in between. It's also a piece of birch bark, but it's from a different type of a birch tree, and it is a little bit bumpier on the surface. Pine cones. I would say these are both bumpy, a little bumpy edges to them. I don't know if we can pull one of these apart, but here at the bottom, right down here, is the seed part of the pine cone, and that's when you see them on the ground and they're all pulled apart. It's because the squirrels like to eat that part of the pine cone. Rocks, that was an easy one to do. This is definitely a smooth rock. This one has some real jaggy edges over here. Yikes, careful about that. This one is a rough, as is this one. Got some really sharp points on it, just be careful with that. Smooth rocks are my favorite. I love smooth rocks. This one, just so soft. I love this. Some of the pine needles. Sticks, the last one I'll do. Oh, so pine needle. Acorn, also smooth, except the top part is a little bumpy, the cap. That's bumpy, but this part is smooth. And then the last one I'm going to look at are some sticks. Here's one I found on the ground. All the bark is off, and it's definitely now very smooth. This one looks like it's got lots of little indentations in it, probably from bugs. This one's very rough, as is this one. Look at the difference in colors. This one is actually starting to break down a little bit on the inside. It's a little soft and fluffy in there. So these are just some, as I said, some simple things that I found out in nature, and this is how I chose to classify them by their texture. You could do it, again, as I said, by color or shape, whatever you choose, or maybe it's just fun to talk about the things that you found. Okay, so now I have a story to share with you, but before I do that, and cameraman, if you'd like, you can put that back down on the stand so the children can see me. Over here, let's slide this over here. We're very fortunate that we have lots of artists and authors who are willing to allow us to share their things with you in an online share online. One of the artists that I know has said, absolutely, take my songs and share them with the children and enjoy them, is Jim Gill. And here's one of my favorite CDs that I have of his called Jim Gill Sings a Sneezing Song and Other Contagious Tunes. He's just got such a great sense of humor. I just love his songs. They're so much fun. So I thought this is one that we've done at Storytime at the library. It's just a real favorite. It's just gonna, as many of his songs do, very catchy tune. Let's try this one. See if Whoops. Called Hands Are for Clapping.
Hands are for clapping, clapping to this song. Hands are for clapping, let's all clap along. Clap your hands.
Try to clap with Jim, not against him.
Now your toes. Toes are for tapping.
Are you tapping your toes? I am.
To this song. Toes are for tapping. Let's all tap along. Tap your toes. Now with your fingers. Fingers are for snapping. Snapping to this song.
That's a tricky one. Take some practice.
Fingers are for snapping. Let's all snap along. Snap your fingers. Get a beat on your knees for this one.
Oh, this is a good one.
Knees are for slapping. Slapping to this song. Knees are for slapping. Let's all slap along. Slap your knees. Now this one's good for you. Teeth are for brushing.
Get your brush. Put some toothbrush.
Brushing to this song.
Toothpaste on it. Shh.
Teeth
Get ready.
are for brushing.
Whoops. Oops. And then he brushes his teeth.
Let's all.
Uh-oh. Well, I think my CD has decided it's not going to play today. Not Jim Gill's fault.
Brush along like this.
Get the one from the back.
Clap your hands. Hands are for clapping. Clapping to this song. Hands are for clapping. Let's all clap along.
Yay! Well, sorry for that little hiccup in the middle there, but again, a fun song. Thanks again, Jim Gill. Appreciate it. We'll probably be playing this one again sometime. Okay, so the story I want to share with you today is called The Earth Book. And this story was written by Todd Parr, and he also agreed to let us share his writings. Just scooch this up a little bit this way. I take care of the earth because I know I can do little things every day that will make a big difference. I love Todd's drawings. I use both sides of the paper. That's a good idea. And bring my own bags to the market. Because I love the trees. That's a little tricky right now. They're not allowing us to do that because of germs. But it's a good practice when we can. I want the owls to have a place to live. Well, that's for sure. I turn off the faucet when I brush my teeth. Oh, Jim Gill would be proud of that guy, brushing his teeth. And use less water for my baths because I love the fish and I want the oceans to stay blue. I take the school bus, and I ride my bike because I love the stars and I want the air to be clear so that I can see them sparkle. The less pollution we can put in the air, the better. I try to eat every bite on my plate and save my leftovers because it makes a yummy lunch, for one thing. I love watching things grow, and I want there to be enough food for everyone. This is a good idea if you have the space and the time and it's something that you like doing, is to grow your own garden, and they're encouraging people to do that. I remember to turn off the lights and shut the refrigerator to save energy. Two very good ideas because, oops, I love the polar bears and I want the snowmen to stay cool. You've all heard of global warming. I throw garbage in the trash can and I recycle glass, aluminum, paper, and plastic. We are very good about recycling here in Lunenburg. And I'm sure in the surrounding communities too, Fitchburg and Leominster, Shirley, Ayer, Townsend. I love to walk barefoot in the grass, and I don't want to move to Mars because we've ruined our own planet. Most of all, I help take care of the earth because I want us all to be happy and healthy. That kind of says it all, doesn't it? Good message on that page, Todd. So here's 10 ways that I can help the earth. Number 1, turn off lights, save energy. 2 is recycle. That's a huge one. And he even wrote the word very big letters. Save my leftovers. Number 3, be nice to the worms. Well, they do have an important role to do in keeping our earth aerated so things will grow. Share a book. Plant a tree, good idea. Use both sides of the paper. Save water. Clean up trash. And put my underwear in the freezer when it's hot. Wait a minute. I don't know if that's a good idea. Maybe you can just have a nice cool drink instead. So thank you, Todd Parr, for letting us share that story today. And I hope that you enjoyed our nature activity that we did. And today is a good day to get outside and collect some of your own nature finds. I went out in my yard and it took me about 10 minutes to collect up all these interesting things. So I hope you get a chance to do that today. So thanks, everybody. I hope you enjoyed Miss Debbie's Storytime, and I'll see you again.